And we're back on Filmatic Podcast. I'm here. This is a rare opportunity for us. We're kind of finally hitting the big leagues here on Filmatic. We're actually here with Joe Rogan. He's here.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's really a pleasure. I've heard a lot about the podcast. Jamie showed me the podcast a couple months ago, actually, and I've been dying to get on here. Trying to connect with you guys over social media has been a little bit difficult. Unfortunately, I could not get entered into that Suicide Squad DVD giveaway. I'm a little bit upset about that, but
Yeah, well, M beat you to it. You should have commented a little sooner, Joe, but I'll let it slide. You're a busy guy. You got big things going on. I understand you have some questions for me because you're a big fan. I'm happy to answer those before we start the podcast. Anything you have to ask, I am an open book. So feel free to let me know.
yeah, well, as you might know, I do have a background in podcasting myself. We have a little podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience. So I had some questions, just podcaster to podcaster,
Sure.
that I wanted to ask you. Starting with Nabil, what is your favorite film?
Well, Joe, I'd say my favorite. Yeah, so many favorites, but one of my all-time favorites, mentioned many times here on the podcast. I'm sure you remember Spider-Man 2, one of the greatest superhero movies, one of the greatest movies possibly ever made to put on the screen.
I'm wearing
So
the shirt.
emotional. Look at that. Casey's wearing the
Repping it.
shirt. It's great.
You like this show? You Spider-Man 2 fan?
I am a big fan of Spider-Man. The acrobatics that Tobey Maguire had to learn for that movie are beyond impressive, in my opinion. It's really crazy. If you look at some of the maneuvers that they have these Spider-Man stunt doubles learning, it's pretty similar to chimpanzees. I'm very, very interested in the biology of these animals. It's quite crazy. I could go on for days. But I think one of the least impressive parts to me personally about Spider-Man 2, as someone with a background in MMA and bodybuilding, is Tobey Maguire's physique. It doesn't really do it for me. I'm more of a fan of, The Rock, Black Adam.
Rock.
I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Joe, it's funny you mentioned that. Today's episode is on Black Adam. Have you seen Black Adam? I'm sure you have.
I actually have seen Black Adam. We're trying to get The Rock onto the podcast. He's a little bit hard to contact. I know the movie is making a ton of money right now. It's actually crazy. Jimmy, if you don't mind pulling up the numbers, I think Black Adam is the #1 best-selling movie of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
that's correct.
You pull it up. Jamie's here too. He's also
Jamie's
here.
he's in the back. He pulled it up. We saw that.
This is actually, what is this? This is a tweet from The Rock himself. Yeah, he said that the Black Adam movie is making a profit, and that the fans are very much appreciated. Yeah, he's a great guy. He really is. I don't know if you've ever met him in person, but he's really, really something else.
Wow. Well, maybe, now that we got you on the podcast, you have so many connections. Maybe we could get him on next some other time. Get you both on Filmatic. But Joe, it's really, really great to have you on. I gotta ask you though, was there any favorite part of Black Adam? Any scene before that you really had a good time with? Any piece of dialogue? Because
as I said, I am a big fan of the MMA world, the bodybuilding world, the sports side of entertainment. And The Rock is obviously, for many years, he got his start in WWE, a form of wrestling. And I am a promoter of champions at the end of the day, Nabil. That is what I do.
Okay.
I commentate over UFC matches. That's where I got my start. And I love a good story. I love a good fight. And I love a good champion. So something that really hit home for me was during the movie when the streets were filled with all of the Kondak people supporting The Rock's character, Black Adam. They filled the streets and they were chanting "Long live the champion," and that really struck a chord with me. It felt like I was in a UFC fight. It felt like I was watching Conor McGregor fight for the first time, win his first belt. It was special, you know?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's a scene that really resonated with us. And I know you have to go right now. I know you got to record your podcast. You won't be able to join us for the full podcast. But Darian, I don't know if you know Darian Niger. He was on another podcast. He's going to be filling your place. I don't know. Do you like Darian, by the way, as a podcaster? Is that on the podcast?
I know that he's got some controversial opinions regarding the use of DMT in speech synthesis with chimpanzees, but we might have some common ground. It's too bad that he's not going to be able to have a conversation with me today. But
yeah. Well, Joe, we'll let you go. We got to get on to the podcast. We'll see you later, Joe Rogan.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Nabil. And remember, that's it. That's the joke. That's all. It's
a good joke. And we're back on at Filmatic Podcasts. Guys, I hope you liked the little intro. To be clear, we do not support the politics of Joe Rogan. Thought it'd just be funny to impersonate him. And Darian did a great job. Darian, how does it feel? You're here. Darian Niger's here.
Feels good to be back. It's been a while, but I've heard some things while I was gone. Heard some things in the streets, if you will. Word on the streets gets around. I don't know if you know what they've been saying about Filmatic and Bill, but I think this is going to be a great episode.
Yeah. I have been hearing things. I guess we'll have to confirm and see if everyone heard them. But yeah. I'd like to introduce...
Long live the podcast, bro.
All right. Well, you butted in, so I'll just introduce you next. Casey.
It's good to be back. Yeah, I'm happy to be here for my favorite movie of all time, Unite. And I love... Okay. Cut that. I realize that comes off as like
we'll just censor it. So we'll just start straight away on this.
That was not what I intended.
When Casey's on the podcast, the censors start.
I immediately make the joke that can be okay. Anyway, yeah, it's good to be here. I really was excited for this movie. Long time coming. Podcast, long time coming, but we were allowed. We had the opportunity to watch it together the other night, and I'm very excited to talk about it.
All right,
along with the champion.
Oh, yeah. And with you in the same apartment, even if we can say that, they make the dogs you like that.
What's your address?
What's up?
Who knows? How's it going?
It's going well. You actually recently finally got your prize.
I did. The Suicide Squad.
You must have seen it a few times by now, Been so excited to pop that in.
Watching it back to back since.
What's your favorite scene?
The one that the Joker is not in.
That's the whole movie. There you go.
It's good.
Yeah. Perfect answer.
Yeah.
We're watching it on our Blu-ray player every night.
And then every once in a while, just to switch it up, we just play the regular one.
Just a regular DVD.
One? Oh, yeah.
Compare the quality. Yeah, sweet. Now that we've introduced everybody, I guess we should... I guess we can jump right into the podcast, to the discussion of Black Adam 2022. So I guess we can start with a little bit of the backstory. Thing is, there's been a lot of complications in the history of this movie. There's been a lot of twists and turns on the road. I know we've talked about it before on the podcast a little bit, but for those who don't know, I'll try to give it a very quick rundown. So in 2007, The Rock has a meeting with the people at DC Studios / Comics, and apparently, this is The Rock story. He was at an event. A fan gave him a Black Adam comic and said he should play Black Adam. He read the Black Adam comic and decided he wants to play Black Adam. So he met up with DC, said he wants to play Black Adam, and it was agreed upon. And the movie entered tentative pre-production, where it remained on and off production for 15 years until here we are today. And some people also don't know. I just want to mention there were times during that span where The Rock was going to play other DC characters, most notably Lobo. For those who know who Lobo is, who actually is now supposedly going to be played by Jason Momoa. Anyway, crazy shit's going on at DC. My point being, this is The Rock's quote unquote passion project, as he would put it, and it finally came out in the year of our Lord 2022, and it's been making waves in the news because at the same time you have DC getting an overhaul with a new head being James Gunn, who's basically rebooting the whole universe. Superman is out, Wonder Woman's out, Ben Affleck Batman is out. Well, he's been out for a while, but he's confirmed out now. And things are just shaking up, and it's been confirmed now, as of the time of this recording, that there will not be a Black Adam sequel. And maybe we can read The Rock's message that he released yesterday later. I don't know. I just wanted to mention there's a lot of historical context behind this movie.
I think Joe Biden might join us to read that Rock.
Yeah, towards the end, we're told Joe Biden might join us to read The Rock's Instagram statement. Darian was in contact with what's her name, Jen Psaki, the Secretary of Communications.
She's not it's not her anymore. It's someone else.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, whoever that person is, Darian's in contact with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be finding out later on if Joe Biden will be reading that for us towards the end. So stay tuned for that. And by the way, if you do stay tuned for that, make sure to comment. The people are saying the champion is here to get entered into our new giveaway.
The champion is here? The people are saying the champion is here?
Yeah, they're saying that. The champion is Joe Biden.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. The champ is here. John Cena saying long-term rival of The Rock. And a DC character who has not been fucking cut out of existence.
Peacemaker.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so you and Darian know more a little bit about wrestling than I do. By a little bit, I mean entirely. Mm-hmm. Is The Rock referred to as the people's champion in wrestling?
Yes, that's his...
So is that line a direct reference to him as a wrestler?
I don't know, but if his people really wrote the movie like you said,
they did.
I could totally see it. I was wondering, that was actually a question I had, because I was wondering if like "Long Live the Champion" is a thing from the comics or not, or like just the term like the champion. Is Black Adam known as the champion?
I have to double check. I don't remember anything, but
yeah, it's pretty interesting because we were also talking about, we can get into this later, but I feel like there's good crossovers between like him as a wrestler and how he's acting over the course of this project. It's been interesting to see.
Yeah, I think you were telling me a little bit about his history as a wrestler and how that ties into kind of his ego. I think that really is apparent in this movie and the way he's acted with the release of it. Also claiming that it made a profit when it didn't. Some people even saying that he committed fraud by releasing fake numbers. I don't know how true that is, but it's crazy shit going on at DC. So I guess we can just after kind of covering that, just kind of jump into the movie itself. And I just kind of want to open it up to you guys and any of you and say, what are your thoughts? What were your kind of general thoughts? And if we can kind of dive in from there. Anybody can take that question. And the program cuts silences, so don't feel bad. There's silence.
I mean, I think that the movie was a positive surprise. I personally went in with To be honest, negative expectations, or I guess you could say low. I wasn't expecting to have like a miserable time. I figured it would at least be like ironically funny if it were bad, but that was kind of
Mhm.
where I was at. It's going to be ironically funny if it's bad, or it's just going to be like bad, mediocre, maybe not quite laughable. And I
Mhm.
walked out being, genuinely entertained. I think that like the movie had problems, obviously, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think overall it was like fun movie. Um, there was more substance to some of the characters that were in it than I thought there would be, which was gave me something to chew on outside of it being purely fun. And I don't know, I thought that turned out better than what it was being presented as, honestly, by The Rock and by the advertising.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Overall, good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I definitely agree with most of that. I think I on my second watch recently with Casey, I would say that the parts that I liked surprisingly mostly still held up. I still thought the action was really entertaining, good enough where I didn't want to like look at my phone or anything at least. And the parts I didn't like, specifically the parts I really think that they could have done better with the human element of this. There's kind of an overarching theme that we can talk about where it's like maybe Casey specifically I think had a good point about this yesterday, where it's like the whole foreign invaders and uh, using the Justice Society of America as a device to represent foreign invaders in the Middle East and how that theme worked in the movie with Black Adam representing like I guess or I guess what they tried to represent him as, which is like uh I don't know how would you say like I don't know brutal justice or like um I don't know Casey, do you have any thoughts about any of this? I'm just kind of spitballing here,
Yeah.
but
Um, it's right. It's like pretty. It's pretty clearly stated like what they're trying to show there. Um, it's pretty like out in the open. It's said, by multiple characters that they're like, you are like neo-imperialist douchebags, like invading our like the intergang and the
mhm,
JSA both like working together in that way. Um, which I think there's an even stronger point about how like within like countries that the U.S. invades in the Middle East, it'll be like a uh there's already normally a conflict going on in there, and then the U.S. chooses to side with one,
mhm,
and doesn't really care about the results, only in that it like how it affects them. And I think that's shown like in this movie. They don't really give a shit about like what are happening to the people. They just care like, oh, is he going to like go leave Kondak? And that's even like we'll get to it, but like the final scene
mhm,
references that. But yeah, I mean, my issue with it is that like, I mean, it's expected, but like, of course, this movie, like a major blockbuster, is not going to like go all in on like anti-imperialism,
mhm,
and because of that, they kind of just present it and say nothing interesting about it.
yeah,
They like add nothing to the conversation. They're just like, this is a thing that happens, and then like don't tell you or like pose like how should we feel about this. It's just like
mhm,
it happens.
yeah,
um and yeah, I guess we can get into this more towards the end, but like the whole thing I think just relates, the whole thing with like the demon army coming in at the end. I
yeah,
just was thinking about it when we watched the movie, and I said this, but it's like um they need to give like a way for the people to fight back somehow, but they don't want them to like you
yeah,
know kill the fucking imperialist. So Intergang just completely disappears from the
yeah,
movie, and then they're like, we have these non-human people that they can come together and fight against. And I feel like that is like not only like stupid plot wise, but also just like generally like, oh, like we can't give them an actual win. They're just fighting these like fucking skeleton zombies that like ultimately like means nothing. Like it doesn't mean anything that they like destroyed, because they didn't really. Like it was the superhero killed the devil in the end. Like that was it. It didn't mean anything that the people were fighting back.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that was a really lacking part of it for me.
Yeah. Very well said. And I think, man, I mean, especially just that the soldiers who are occupying Kondak literally disappeared from the movie after the JSA show up. It's like, that's one of my main, or I guess the general gripe with this movie is like, there's so many different aspects that could be interesting that are just like barely developed. And it's like the movie couldn't choose one or two to focus on. It's like there's the superhero team JSA, and the classic hero conflict of like, is killing good or bad. Then there's the occupation thing that you just talked about. Then there's the classic third act, big light in the sky, devil army, and there's just so many different like movies I feel like it's trying to be.
Yeah, and you kept saying it sounds like a first draft, which is like
Yes.
crazy to me, because it does. And it's like, this movie has been in development for 15 years, and have they had the same script for all 15 of those years? Like,
some of it feels like it's from 2007.
right?
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I think honestly, not to give The Rock too much credit, not to say that as a backhanded comment even, but just like, I don't think he's even said anything himself about the script or what he wanted to add. I don't think we're at a point yet where he's addressed any criticisms of the movie. He's been very supportive of it overall, right? I think he's
Yeah.
trying to stay in good terms with the studio, to be honest.
He's never
but
addressed any criticisms with any of his movies.
yeah,
He
that's
just pretends
fair.
that they're doing good when they're not. That's his only like, thing. Sorry, I just wanted to say. I didn't mean to.
No, that is a good point. I think it's, maybe deserved a backhanded comment about The Rock. But what I was going to say was, not to give him too much credit, but to me, I definitely get the vibe of what you guys are saying from the movie, that it doesn't feel like a cohesive thing. It doesn't feel like fully concluded on what the movie should be, right? Story-wise. And I think it might be, I don't know, because it has been in production for so long, right? It might be more of a reflection of this thing that we know happens all the time, where you have a creative oversight that is, being pestered and influenced by an individual or group of individuals who have actual dynamic ideas, and you somehow have to force them together because, people don't want to give up good ideas, and the studio doesn't want to give up their formulaic approach to making a movie hopefully work, without risks. My point being, I think honestly it seems more likely, just with what we know, that a lot of these like political undertones and like philosophical questions about like what's right and wrong were probably encouraged by The Rock. I mean, especially because I think he wanted to play a morally gray character. I don't know. I think he wants to be cool, but also not like definable. And I think it doesn't really make sense that The Rock's vision for Black Adam would involve like a third act CGI fight about something that, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I think it's more likely that The Rock introduced some of those ideas about like Kondak's independence and like imperialism. I don't know,
Yeah.
And they just got muddled with this status
It's interesting
quo.
you mentioned like the third act doesn't seem like something The Rock would inherently want, because what I was reading among all this DC drama is the budget for this movie ballooned up by an extra 100 million because they did reshoots in the last like 9 months before it came out. And that could be, that's something they could have leaned into with that. I could totally see the studio wanting to do that. I know they did reshoots because it tested poorly with audiences. I will say there are some. The editing in this movie is not great. I think most of us agreed on that the other night.
Yeah.
But there were specific moments where I couldn't tell. It kind of felt like there were parts, specifically with Adam Smasher, where he would make some quips, kind of like Tom Holland-esque quips, that felt like they were reshoots because of the position of the actors and the way that it cut, and I couldn't tell if that was a reshoot or if it was a bad editing choice. I guess with one, I guess it's pointless bringing it up now because I can't point it out specifically to you guys. But my point being, I think that a third act schlag being solidified and more quips as something that lines up with Marvel's movies recently, well, I guess some people would say overall, is something that the studio would want to do. So
yeah,
just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I also, not to delineate like the conversation that we're going on here, because I think the approach we're taking is good, but I also just wanted to say, point in case that I'm even bringing this up, it's confusing and doesn't make sense. But what even is the intergang, right? By the point that we get to where they seemingly disappear, it kind of feels like they're trying to make you believe that the inner gang was just a front for this guy who was trying to get the artifact the entire time because he's part of them, and like there wasn't actually an overarching struggle outside of him trying to get it was a crown, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even know right now, which is why I'm bringing it up, but is that what they were going for? Because ultimately, like, they do kind of disappear as a threat in terms of the way they're originally presented, right? They're like, you know, they're occupying this country that they don't belong in, and they're like putting up all these boundaries that they don't deserve to be in charge of, upholding. They're like regulating things. I don't know. That's pretty much all you see from them at the beginning when they're referred to directly as imperialists. But then it seems like the focus of Intergang just comes to be like they are part of this like deeper conspiracy to steal the crown and make this one guy like an all-powerful being. Am I wrong in that? I don't really
I think it's just
know.
never spelled out. I mean,
yeah. I don't have an answer.
I think unintentionally it folds onto itself and makes sense if you look at the comics, because in the comics, Intergang is like a Superman, specifically relating to Superman as a group of an army, but they're like tied to Darkseid and they do a lot of like mystical shit like that. So I guess in a way, some people might say, well, it's clear they were trying to influence who gets the crown or whatever, but like I don't think that the writers actually took that into account.
Yeah, I honestly also completely speculative and possibly irrelevant because of that. But I definitely think that might be something that they had planned to bring back up in a sequel, because The Rock obviously had a larger vision for this and wanted to like carve out a place in the DC universe where he could make this movie
Yeah.
relevant and impactful. I didn't know that, but it's probable that they were trying to, maybe set up a reoccurring
I'm
organization.
Sure The Rock's plan was to do the Black Adam versus Superman, and then in the third act they team up against the Intergang's leader or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
like that's probably what the plan was, if there was a plan.
Nonetheless, though, I do agree with Casey because the way it's presented is like they create this dichotomy. It's like Intergang at the beginning of the movie is completely different than whatever it becomes at the point that it disappears as a threat. And then separate from that, it just doesn't even feel cohesive thematically because of the way they present Intergang at the beginning versus the end. It's like they don't even really make a message about, the occupation of Kahndaq. It's more so like the justification of Black Adam's choice to be violent. I feel like that's the note they end on thematically, with the main characters that aren't superheroes. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I think my overall point is the movie is definitely confusing in what it's trying to do. I think the Atom Smasher point is also really good because what they're doing with the Justice Society, they bring it up. It seems like it could be messy, but they actually like pretty efficiently introduce those characters and inject them into the plot, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like a clear dichotomy that they're going for between Hawkman and Black Adam. And Dr. Fate is kind of there as another interesting character, but it feels like Atom Smasher, and I literally can't even remember the other character's name.
Cyclone.
Yeah, it feels like Atom Smasher and Cyclone are not there for any reason as characters.
True.
They're not
That's a good point.
They're kind of just there to present this like archetype of like funny younger superheroes that like at some points I felt like they were trying to lead me to believe that Atom Smasher and Cyclone were gonna like kiss or something.
They
As
were
stupid as
definitely
that
flirting.
sounds, but like,
Yes,
No,
the
they weren't.
flirting is so stupid. I didn't understand why was
There's a
it
part
there?
where after he turns big and he's got the rock under his hand, he's like, "Hey, you recognize me? You know who I am?" Or something like that. And it's like, bruh. You're like,
no, I
okay.
definitely think it's your theory about Atom Smasher being, reshot to be more of like
Yeah.
like an archetypical comic relief superhero. It feels very heavily modeled off of Spider-Man. I don't know.
No,
I
like,
think
or
anyone who's seen the
even
movie,
Ezra Miller as the Flash and the like Justice League theatrical cut. Like, dare I
like
speak
they
the
wanted
name? But
levity. They wanted,
yeah,
because I feel like, to be fair, if you take Atom Smasher and Cyclone out of the movie, there's some jokes still, but it is a lot more like serious and ambiguous in terms of like what we're watching, right? It's just an extended fight,
well,
disagreement.
they didn't have mirrors 2,000 years ago. In case you didn't know,
I would like to make a point about that. I think that this is the funniest. Unlike, I mean, it is like ironic funny, but like I think some of the jokes that weren't intended and some of the jokes that were some like the hardest I've laughed. I don't know if it was the context in which we watched it, but like I think that's what made me have a lot of fun with the movie, and in a way that like think about like the new Thor comedy like made me like want to die.
yeah.
And I liked some parts of that movie. I don't think it was, we didn't even do a filmatic on that. I believe.
No, we
I
didn't.
don't think it
I'd
deserved
love
it
to though.
necessarily. Yeah, you want to? I think it could be.
I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation about how disappointing and hard hitting of a failure it was after Thor Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
Which,
It
because when Thor,
exemplifies some things that are worth talking about.
I think it does, because Thor Ragnarok was like, for a lot of people, I would say even myself to agree, was like, wait, because it's like I think it felt like Marvel movies were kind of going down, and it's like, okay, wait, there can be some kind of fresh air in this. There can be some creative, unique takes, even if it's not perfect. And I really want to see what this guy does next. And then the guy does something next, and it's fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did that happen? It's so interesting.
But with Black Adam, I think that like, again, maybe it was just like the context in which we watched it, but I did have a lot of fun with like the unintended and intended comedic moments of it. I would like to talk about some of those.
Yes.
Starting with the Doors. How he just burst through walls. And like we were joking about, okay, so to set that up, we were talking about as we were watching, there is when he wakes up in the child's room, he sees himself in a mirror, and I was like, wow, that's actually like pretty deep. Like he's never seen his own reflection before.
People back, you literally said people back then, they didn't know what they looked like.
Yeah, I did say that, and then I said, oh shit, but what about glass? And then it took me a little bit longer to realize, oh wait, what about water? And that's when I knew the movie was trying to fool me.
It tricked you. It did trick you for like 10 minutes.
It did work. Yeah. So then we just kept joking about like, oh, they didn't have this 5,000 years ago, and he kept busting through walls, and
then you said they didn't have walls 3,000 years ago, and I held my tongue. Sorry, that's what. They didn't have doors. 5,000 years ago, and I held my tongue because I knew the joke was coming. So I was like, oh, you're gonna shit bricks. I didn't say that, but in my head I said that.
And then yeah, they literally say, did they not have doors 5,000 years ago? And I did like. Dr. Fate says it, and I liked the Rock Black Adam's response to it.
Black Adam's response.
We gotta talk about that too.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about
what was his response?
He says, I don't remember. He says, yes, it is how we got in and outside of rooms or something.
Okay, wait, that brings me. Before you bring up your next joke, you mentioned your delivery of the line reminded me. The fuck is up with The Rock's acting / delivery of lines in this movie.
Yes.
It's all over the place. He can't decide if he wants to be an alien or he wants to be someone who doesn't know English or he wants to speak a different language. He can't even put on an accent. Sometimes he speaks. There's 2 lines where he doesn't speak English. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I know that's like the first thing I said, because he goes like, 10, 15 minutes without saying anything. And I was like, how are they going to explain how he knows how to speak English? And then he just starts speaking English. And I'm like, they've got to put something in there.
Well,
Like,
the first line he says is in a different language, is in the fake Kondakian language.
oh, really?
Because when he shows up in the cave or whatever, and he's like, he catches a bullet and he's like, your magic is weak, but he says it in the language.
Oh, okay.
Which leads you to believe maybe that he would speak a different language, but then he doesn't until like later on in the movie when he's staring at the statue of his son, I think. And he's like, I'm sorry. And he says it in the language. That's it. There's only 2 lines as far as I remember.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought that was weird. I thought it like led to like some comedic moments like that. But and it matches, I guess, his like stoic nature as like this god figure. But like
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really buy why he was stoic / godlike / alien like.
yes,
Because it's like he's still a human being 3,000 years ago, and in the flashbacks, he's acting normal. He has a normal conversation with his son when they're mining for that mineral. If you remember, he's like,
and then
freedom, fuck freedom, freedom's for the birds. He's like having a normal like human conversation. But in the present day, he's like literally like, doors. I do not know what doors are. Like he's talking like that, and it's weird.
And I think that with that, it's like the weird like alien stoic like goes away when he decides to be like, I'm a cool guy now, and he's like,
Teams.
I'm not a hero.
Teams. I love teams.
I love teams. I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero.
No.
But like, I don't know. So I feel like that's just like maybe that's just his writers like not knowing.
I think it's also The Rock just wanting to be badass as usual. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, what was your other another joke you liked?
Another joke would be definitely not any of the Atom Smasher stuff. I hated that. But the shot in which this was unintended, but the one in which The Rock they didn't have stairs 5,000 years ago, so The Rock is like floating down the staircase and just spinning in a circle. And the way they shoot this, he's just like having a conversation with.
And the kid is walking down the stairs, and then skating, and then picking up, and then going down the stairs, and then skating, and then picking. So we got to talk about the kid.
We do got to talk about the kid.
Okay. I was gonna say it.
Well, really quick. If there's no more jokes to these,
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Sorry, yeah, no. Finish the jokes thing first. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Do you have any more, Casey?
Jokes. Let's see. I thought that the the classic like brother. I forget his name, but like the brother sidekick character to the MILF. Was I thought some of the shit he was doing was funny.
Electrician.
Yeah, like the I'm gonna die
by electricity.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
That was good. That was a good
moment. And I thought his like interactions with Dr. Fate, like when he like wakes up and he like thinks he's dying, and then that whole thing. I thought Dr. Fate also had some like good jokes here and there, while maintaining like a serious.
I also want to talk about Dr. Fate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, I told him to build this right after I got out of the movie. It's one that's really formulaic, and I think they kind of pushed it a little too hard. But in the specific iteration, it's a repeated joke when Black Adam is trying to come up with his catchphrase or whatever, that the kid is encouraging him to use. I thought the him calling himself the Men in Black was pretty funny. I was like, in the moment, I was like, okay, this is funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or related to that, when he's like trying to, during the fight scene with like the fly bikes or whatever the fuck they are, where he like grabs someone off of it and he like throws them, at like full speed, and he just like says it. I think that was like my favorite delivery of what like one of his lines was him when he was like,
Yeah.
"Tell them that the men in black say, tell them that
Yeah.
It was a good moment where the stoicism kind of worked as a
Mhm.
clash, where he's like
Yeah.
trying to do the line, and the guy just dies, and he just like turns back and is like very stoic.
And he does the
Yeah,
I
I
can't-
don't really have an explanation for the consistency of what he's going for, but I just wanted to say I kind of had a realization while you guys were talking about it that I think what he reminds me of a lot in his performance throughout this movie and why some of the jokes do land, like that one, for example, with the catchphrase, is it feels like he's doing what Arnold Schwarzenegger did for Terminator, where it's like he's just like this all-powerful being who has like no regard for like social awareness because of the position that he's put in, right? Like the Terminator can like mimic human speech and like learn, and they like kind of do that in the second movie. Like he shouldn't be acting that way. It's kind of a plot hole. But also like it kind of makes sense because like yes, he has a conversation with his son that's completely normal. But like once he comes to this point, like he just got done like vengefully killing a bunch of people and then being imprisoned for like thousands of years and is like, I don't know what's going on. I just want to kill people basically. That's his whole motive, right? Like he's just pissed off when he first wakes up. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe I'm
the
wrong about
girl, as Casey referred to this character. What's her name? I don't know. Casey referred to her as a MILF. So Casey said it, not me. But when the MILF later on in the movie says, she's talking to him to convince him to do something. She's like, well, your first instinct when you woke up was to protect me, to protect me, or something like that. I was like, his first instinct when he woke up was to kill people, not to protect you. Like, you know what I don't know. What I'm saying is that reminded me. It's like I don't get the whole like, because Black Adam in the comics is very like lethal protector. Kill anybody who tries to harm a Kondakian or if they step foot in Kondak. But it's like They kind of started going with that vibe with him, but then I really didn't catch it. I was like, is he trying to kill people? Is he likes killing people? Is he just mad because of his son? I don't know.
Yeah,
Very
I also
confusing.
wanted to say, not to undermine the mirror comedy, I think it's still a hilarious situation, but something that you shouldn't have to think about in this way about this movie ever, that I did have pop into my head while you were talking about it, is I guess he's never actually seen himself as Black Adam, right? Because he he turns into Black Adam at the end instead of his son, and then is like immediately vengeful and like cast out. So like maybe he's now it's like he's seeing like this. You don't know this at that point in the movie, so it kind of takes away from the
True.
impact of showing you him looking in a mirror. But maybe he's like seeing himself like, oh, this is what I've become. Like I've turned into this like, all powerful being that's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
a
a good point.
defense for it, but not a good one.
That could be like what they were going for. It just didn't work in like execution. Like I do think that's probably what they meant to do.
Yeah, which I want to say the presentation of like, the backstory for Black Adam and the Champion and his son slash him, working in this mine, whatever. They show all of this stuff from the past, and then they go to that, and then they go for this non-linear twist where you find out that his son
Right.
was the champion but didn't do all of that, and he is the bad version. I feel like kind of takes away from some of the things that could
Right.
be cool at different points in the middle of the movie.
Interesting. Well, I also feel like, again, the reveal you already knew if you've seen any of the trailers, because in every trailer he's like, "They killed my son," and I became Black Adam.
Really?
And
I did.
yeah.
I
Yeah, I
watched
didn't know
the
that.
trailers and I did not. I did not catch that.
He's like, they killed my son, died, and a hero was born from rage or something. And they show his son dying, and it's clear that he's becoming Black Adam. And also, beginning of the movie, his son is talking to him, and he's right there. as a skinny The Rock.
Okay,
And it's like, did you think we wouldn't
They
notice?
barely show his face, but
It's very clear.
That's
I'm gonna be
my
honest.
question.
I did not notice.
God damn it. So it's just me. Okay, never mind.
I
I
barely
noticed, but I
noticed.
thought they were going for, oh, this is supposed to look like The Rock because it's his dad before
Yeah,
he got
that's
older.
that's
like,
exactly what I thought too, because they don't show his face clear enough, and also he's fucking deep faked onto like a twink. So like I don't know why. I don't know why they showed his face at all. Why did they do like a little tease? Like it actually, to
Yeah.
what you're saying, Darian, it makes it more confusing because
Yeah.
if they had just not shown it, you would have no like, oh, maybe it's like he's supposed to look like The Rock is his father, but
Well, it almost feels like they were originally not going to use this twist mechanic to reveal that, especially with what
There
Nabil
we
brought up about the
go.
trailer. But then they were like, "Oh, we need some kind of like something to bring home." I felt like they were kind of trying to create a justification for his motives. Like, this is why he's violent because his son actually died. Big reveal, Morty. He's not a bad person. He's just angry. And it's like, I don't need that. First of all, second of all, you're telling me at a point in the movie where it's like, okay, this is the reality, and now he is just fighting the devil, a pure embodiment of evil. It doesn't even matter, right? Like, it doesn't change
matters-
anything to show
exactly.
me
It
now.
matters because he needs to give up, right? And then come back. And then it has to be like, has to resonate.
It's like a
Why?
redemption arc, kind of.
Yeah, which I'm a
honestly.
big fan of redemption arcs. I think that it's not even a bad idea. It's just like, it's half baked and put in way later than it should
could
be.
you say that it's almost like a Jesus Christ arc? He goes into the tomb, he comes out, fights literally the devil. What do we think?
2 words, Jesus Christ.
2 words, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ.
That'd be a good parody. Just Jesus Christ.
Speaking
instead
of,
Black
we
Adam.
need to mention it. The funniest promotional poster of all time, perhaps.
Okay. We'll put up a picture.
Yeah,
here
put up a picture
for the video
on
listeners.
The video.
If you haven't seen it, we'll tell you.
It
Yeah.
it's a promo poster that, you know, normally would have like picture of the character, you know, would have the title of the movie.
I know
and
why.
Then the actor.
I figured out why it's like that, by the way. So
Let me explain
yeah,
first.
yeah, go ahead.
It just says, instead of The Rock in Black Adam, The Rock plays Black Adam, something like that. It just says Black Adam, Black Adam. 2 words, Black Adam, Black Adam. I don't know.
Right. Well, the reason it's like that, I figured out, is because those are character posters. So there's other ones there. It says
okay.
Dr. Fate, Black Adam. Atom
Okay.
Smasher, Black Adam. Cyclone, Black Adam. But for him, instead of just leaving Black Adam and getting rid of the subtitle, they left the subtitle in as Black Adam.
That's so funny. It's
So all they had to do was just delete the one Black
that
Adam.
might even
for
make
that
it just
poster.
funnier.
Yeah, so if you look up like Dr. Fate Black Adam poster, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I mean, all the posters are hilarious. It's like just The Rock pumping up his ego tier. It's like the time of heroes is over. My favorite one is the world needed a hero. It got Black Adam.
And they
It's
say
like-
it. They say it in the movie.
In the movie, yeah, he's
Yeah.
like the world. They asked for a hero, instead it got me or something. I don't know.
Instead, it got Black Adam. He calls himself Black Adam at the.
It's crazy they never say it in the movie.
They never say
Right?
them.
They save it for
say
that
the
ending, that fire ass
post-credit
ending.
scene.
True, they do. Yeah, the only character to say Black Adam is Superman. Just kind of crazy.
Wait, no. Amanda Waller says it.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't like the way she emphasized the. Yeah. Anyway,
Damn.
no, because the delivery was kind of like. First of all, let's talk about Amanda Waller. Great character, greatly cast. You know, Viola Davis, great in the Suicide Squad.
Peacemaker.
Great at everything she's been in. However, in Peacemaker, this movie, and one more I feel like I'm forgetting. She just gets to cameo by just like doing a Zoom meeting with a fake background. I think that's kind of awesome.
No,
So that's
and oh wait, never mind. She does. I thought she was in person in Peacemaker. It does not happen.
No,
It
she does
does
like a
not
video
happen.
call like twice.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, in the movie, she's like, "Okay, Black Adam, like,
Yeah.
you don't want to be here?
Oh,
Kahndaq is your prison," which I feel like is a pretty fire line. You don't want to stay in my prison? Kahndaq is your prison. And then Superman shows up, but that doesn't mean anything anymore because Superman is gone. Henry Cavill is gone. One thing. So there's a few things that were brought up that I think I want to go back and talk about. First of all, let's talk about something that I liked. Maybe you guys liked this too. Maybe you didn't. Let's talk about it. I like the suit. I'm a big fan of the suit. I think it's simple. No, okay, shaking your head for our audio listeners. I'm shaking your head. Let's hear about it. What didn't you like about the suit?
Maybe it's the Christian in me, but it felt like too tight.
Too tight. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't know.
Well, you know the Rock. This is another bit of Rock lore, which we haven't even talked about.
Okay.
Is specifically regarding the suit. I just want to say because that regards to your point. He's on every interview for Black Adam. They're like, "So we heard that the suit doesn't have any muscle padding," and he's like, "Yeah, it's great. So all these Marvel heroes, I love the Marvel movies. They're great. I love Marvel, but they all have muscle padding." And it just detracts from the work because you can't see your body. It's covered up with this muscle padding. And I tried on the suit. The first day of the screen test, I tried on the Black Adam suit. And I said, "What the hell is this padding?" And I made them get rid of the padding in the suit. So what you see is my body form-fitted to my muscles. There is no muscle padding, Jimmy Fallon. And Jimmy Fallon's like, "Well, that's crazy." And it's like,
so I wasn't looking for this, and maybe that was a mistake on my part. But
you found the Rock fappening, bro.
Can you see the Rock's cock?
Darian liked that one.
Can you see the Rock's cock?
I wasn't
the
looking.
Black Adam suit.
You cannot.
it's a little weird.
Were you looking at him?
I mean, I feel like you have to a little bit.
Oh my god! I like your first contribution to the podcast. The Rock's
I like
penis. This is good.
My point in bringing this up was I feel like DC has kind of always been here and there. It's in shambles, One thing is I cannot think of a bad DC suit off the top of my head. I feel like that's pretty telling because Marvel recently especially has been kind of bludgeoning their suits with a weird angular design that I think kind of sucks. I like that DC sticks to like very comic booky, simple, yet somehow also very intricate. I like the Black Adam suit because it's got these it's intentional, like Egyptian sort of like patterns, and just got the big lightning bolt that's dark in the beginning because the dark represents his soul. Black Adam, black is in his soul. I'm not making that up. That's actually why he's called Black Adam. For you didn't know, it's because his character and morals are literally black. I'm not making that up. That's just true. But if you notice in the first 3/4 of the movie, the lightning bolt is like kind of dark and cloudy. But when he comes back at the end for the final fight, it's bigger, and it's like bright yellow.
Well, then he has the bracers too, right?
True. He's got one bracer on like his one of the hands.
No, at the end of the movie, he has arms.
At the end.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But you're saying when he comes back from the prison. Yes. Oh, okay. So there's like 3 changes then, yeah.
Yeah.
Or 2.
Well, also because when he first shows up, he has the hood.
Oh yeah.
And the cloak, which I think is a very cool look.
I like
my go-to look in Fortnite when I play with the Black Adam skin.
Up top. Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, buddy. Anyway, also the scene where he's describing his origin, big reveal, Morty, my son is dead. The part where he like gets mad because his son just died and the suit like forms on him. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's like,
yeah.
He comes up shirtless, but the black literally forms and spreads on him, kind of like the black suit in Spider-Man 3. I thought that looked really insane and cool.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting because his son did not have a suit, right?
No. So his son and him when they both get the powers. So the son originally, and when he transfers the powers to his dad, are just wearing a white like tunic and a big lightning bolt necklace. and then he only gets the suit when he freaks out and rages.
Mm. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. I kind of like that. Like the suit is just formed because he's fucking like bad now.
It makes sense why it's skin tight too.
Exactly. It literally does. And
Clock-fitting form on this one. Am I allowed to say that? Shit. Hold on. Can I just mute myself for a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I can do this podcast anymore.
That's up to you, bud.
It's kind of weird in case you didn't know their mic was muted. Not to talk about that, I guess.
Wait, I didn't know my mic was muted?
We heard
My mic wasn't muted.
Oh, right, shit. It's 3 a.m., okay?
So,
another thing I want to talk about.
The kid.
Darian mentioned.
Can we talk about the kid?
Yeah, well, that too. Okay, let's talk about the kid. I don't like to say this. I don't say this lightly, especially about kids. This kid is a bad actor. This kid's bad news. If you guys don't hire this kid, Hollywood, all right? It's bad news.
No way he gets another fucking shot at anything else.
I'm sorry, are you joking? He's definitely going to get another shot.
No fucking way.
Because his dad is a producer.
Wait a year and a half and he's going to be the lead and the romantic interest of some dumbass Disney.
Yeah, he'll be the next like Nat Wolf. He'll be the
next Noah Centineo.
He's going to be in a fucking A24 movie in 5 years and people are going to be like, holy shit.
It's going to be a skater movie because it's his only like talent. If you can call it that in this movie.
He's in the mid-20s. What is it called? Mid-20s? Mid-90s. Mid-20s.
No, he's in mid-20s. It's a Great Depression.
Yeah, what the fuck? I don't know what I'm thinking.
Instead of playing classic 90s hip-hop, they just play like, hello, my darling.
The scene in which he... You know, I think this just goes to show how fucking terrible the whole section where they're fighting, like, the devil army and trying to rally the people is, like, their big moment for that scene. They have this fucking kid get in front of a crowd and speak softer than I'm talking right now. And it's like, guys...
It's crazy.
Guys, it's the worst...
That's what you're doing!
I really hate. I've never seen that bad of a child actor, or like that scene specifically is the worst like child actor scene I've seen in a major film ever. Like there's nothing behind it, and it's supposed to be.
And they also chose to make him the narrator for the beginning part of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Classic,
like, who knows?
Shitty. That's very 2007. Is like a stupid narration at the beginning over a bunch of planets, where it's like in the beginning. There's Kondak, and we had a very valuable mineral, Marty, and we had to hide it. Black Adam.
Unobtainium.
Anyway. Why does he have to skate all the time? That's what I want to know.
I honestly thought the opening shot, how it was done, where he's skating through their way of like showing I kind of liked it. I thought it was okay. The skateboard being used for the rest of the entire film.
He uses it as a form of, instead of walking, he just uses the skateboard.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. I did like when they used it as a weapon. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, but he doesn't even use it. His mom uses it.
His MILF uses it. I've never used that.
I wish you wouldn't again. I didn't like that.
His MILF kind of sounds. Oh, I don't know about that one.
No, but right before that, the scene where it's like he steals the walkie-talkie from that soldier, and then it plays like badass like rock. He's like, and he's like, all soldiers, conduct because it's for a superhero. Woohoo! Then he drops the thing in a pot of dumplings. ruining the dumplings.
So fucking
Yeah, it's pretty
rude.
fucked up.
Does he really care about Condor?
No.
Dude, shout out. Hold on. Okay, this is why I liked that skating scene. All right, I just remembered because he said they were playing rock music. We can talk about the
Yes.
music throughout the whole movie also because it was shit in some parts, in my opinion, when they played trap
Yes, I'd like
music.
to talk about that.
Why were they playing trap? Not even like trap music, just like trap drum hi-hats over like.
You're talking about over
Oh,
like during Black
yeah.
Adam's theme.
Yeah, I'm like, what is happening?
All right,
I don't know.
dude, it was stupid, but I kind of.
Okay, no.
He's just-
Quick shout out. During the skating scene, they play "Rat in a Cage" by the Smashing Pumpkins. That was a good needle drop. It fits the vibe, you know, of like them being like imprisoned and feeling. I thought it was nice, and it's a good song. And I haven't heard that in a movie before. I thought that was cool. And then they did no other good needle drops in the entire film. They did the basic ass painted black, and then
That
they
was
did
cringe.
a Kanye West redacted fucking.
I hate Kanye West.
Agreed.
Leave it at that. Don't look at this poster, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
I really think I have to take that down. It's becoming
Probably a good idea.
Yeah,
For
guys, for the
filmatic
record, that
sake.
was put up 4 years ago, not
But
recently.
It is really unfortunate though, because that is literally, I'm sure that is all anyone thought of during that scene where they play
Oh, it's
Power.
just terrible timing too. Like,
There's
the movie came out
no
like the
way.
week after that all happened.
Yeah, there's no
like-
way they could have fucking predicted that, but like, dude, like, there's no way anybody went and saw that movie and their first thought was, ooh, fucking ooh.
Well, I guess if there certain people might have been hyped, anti-Semite. You good?
What would you like to say about,
I just-
we're recording. Yeah.
I felt like I didn't quite get to justify my argument that the Rock suit was too form-fitting, because it was
Okay.
more specifically that like it was the whole suit was fit to his body, and then he had his collar, and then just his delts popped out.
Mm.
And I feel like they could have just adjusted the neckline a little bit, because there's
Okay.
the whole like part of the movie, and maybe I misinterpreted this, and that's fine. But like, there's like the whole part of the movie where like the suit is being like made around him as he's
Yes, we talked about this
right.
in the podcast.
I agree. I understand, and I didn't feel the need to chime in at that moment in time. But even
Keep going.
but it just sounded like a ton of noise to me.
What? Oh, it was the.
But
Could you play it again, Nabil? Just
Okay.
one-
I got to
just
work
one.
that time.
thank
Yeah.
you. But even in that scene, I don't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but it didn't seem like the whole suit was made. It was just like the black part with all of the writing,
Mhm.
and then it was just a
Interesting.
shot of him in the full suit.
I don't know.
I don't know.
remember.
Doesn't matter. Anyways, too
I-
much dealt. For
No, I mean that's fair. The Rock's neck is not the prettiest thing to look at. That's why I think. That's why I think
I'm not to
the.
body shame. I'm not. I'm not
Well, it's the Rock. It's okay.
prolific
The-
wrestler.
It's okay. He has a thick skin.
Yeah, he has a
Thick
thick skin. You know him.
Rock hard.
That's why I think the iteration
Rock
of
hard.
bringing with the hood and the cloak is the best one because it covers up his dirty ass neck
I agree.
and yeah. So
Well, I think it's also the problem that you're bringing up is accentuated by The Rock's small, bald head
yeah.
compared to his shoulders.
Like
so
that-
when you take away the hood, it's like tripling the problem.
yeah.
A shot of him from the back was pretty scary. I
He
did
does-
have a very visceral reaction to that.
He does look like he looks cool, right? But at the same time, he does look inherently comedic.
Yes.
And
I
it's
agree.
an interesting.
It's Pinhead moment.
It really showcases the dichotomy of Black Adam's character. Like he has this hard side. And then
I tried to beat you to it.
God. And then he has this soft side where he makes little jokes and he's a funny guy occasionally, and it makes no sense for his character, but there he is. On that note,
Yes.
good night.
Good night.
See ya.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for letting me be on the podcast.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Beautiful
We're
experience.
hope to see you again.
I don't think you have the right to say that.
I'm sorry.
It's
I guess
true,
I
you don't. You don't.
Yeah, I guess I don't. Sorry.
I guess that's a
Can I mute my mic again?
Yeah.
I can't take it. I'm sorry, I didn't mute it yet. I actually did mute it. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I should
Yeah.
just
Shut the door,
fuck off.
turn the
and
lights
die.
on.
Get out.
Fighting a war, Matador with my own
To
thoughts.
Tony
Maybe.
only apartment.
Maybe.
You guys want to fight a
It's
war?
Turn the
possible.
lights off.
Everybody stop. Okay, anyway,
Everybody,
for those who
Everybody
for those
stop.
who aren't
everybody
following
rock.
along.
Everybody rock. Adam. Everybody. I don't know.
Adam, straight to the Adam.
Everybody
who-
conduct.
For those who are confused, to be clear,
My last memory of you.
there was a little technical
Kill my
difficulty. Our previous recording session broke down because of Sam Moss, who allegedly, possibly went to sleep at some point, which is why you didn't hear from him the entire episode. So we
Like
had to,
Fall Guys.
yeah. So we had to start a new session here, and here we are. So we'll just kind of wrap things up. Another thing I wanted to mention. What's the deal with the Eternium in this movie, though? The mineral. There's points in this where Intergang uses it as a weapon, and it harms the Rock, but it's never used again.
It is
I guess
never
I'm-
used again other than the shield. I think they literally only use it as like, oh, there's the shield keeping you from, and it's Eternium, so it would hurt you to try to go through it, but
It's like,
there's
even your
no
powers can't break the shield.
there's nothing that says it will kill him, and he doesn't even try to. He doesn't try to, and then it's like, oh, I can't do this. I'll be hurt by
Well,
it.
no, he fucking eats a fucking Eternium missile at the beginning.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
And then he tries
Okay,
to
and-
fly, and then he falls down.
Oh, okay, yes. Never mind. So it does.
And then he punches the crown, which hurts him. Remember that?
Oh, the punching the crown hurts him.
Remember he's fighting Hawkeye,
Yeah, but he
Hawkman.
I don't remember it hurting him when he punches it.
It literally does. He's
Okay.
like, "Whew."
I'm sorry.
And then they
It's
pull
very
back the
d-
cupboard.
That's very
and,
defensive, Nabil. You were like,
Well,
it literally does. It literally
was-
does. It
that was
literally
how
does
you.
hurt
That was
him.
how you hear things in your mind. Okay, so
Bro, what's that supposed to mean?
well, you
Is
know
that
what it
like
means.
homophobic of you?
All I'm gonna say is, so whatever you guys want to do with that, and I would never. And how do you feel about
I
that? Wow. Okay.
yeah. I
Did
mean,
not think you would say that, but that's.
yeah. Like,
I mean, that's okay, I guess.
yeah, it's okay. Just like go. We are timing this well.
Wow.
Ah,
Okay.
There's a delay here. I don't know.
All right. So let's get back to the podcast. What else do we want to? Anything we missed? Anything we missed? Okay. I just remembered. Darian mentioned Atom Smasher, Cyclone. What were they even doing there? It feels they pale in comparison to Hawkman and Dr. Fate. and I feel like that's probably possibly the best part of the movie is Dr. Fate and Hawkman. You somehow through the performances, very carried by the actors. You kind of buy it. At least I bought into the relationship that they had, the long-standing relationship, and I actually kind of was like, I didn't feel nothing when Dr. Fate died.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I think it's rough because I liked how they handled like Dr. Fate dying, but it sucks that if they had continued this is the only movie in which you have Dr. Fate,
Yeah,
unless it's a multiverse thing. That seemed weird to me. I was like, okay, the coolest character. I mean, Hawkman is cool too. I like to see something else with him. Will we? No, but but
yeah. Apparently, we were supposed to, and that got canceled.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Sad. I thought his character was really good. I thought the actor who played him. I wouldn't have cared if like Dr. Fate's dead. I definitely wouldn't have cared for another like Justice Society of America thing as a whole, because like why the fuck do I care about Atom Smasher? I feel like but they were like world building. They tried doing like my uncle, like referencing his uncle who's played by the Foz. What's his name?
Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
The old Atom Smasher.
Oh, is that what it was? It felt a little Ant-Man inspired.
Definitely.
But
and I guess that's kind of evident. Another comparison with his character and like the comedy, kind of very similar to that.
Yeah, and Hawkman kind of felt like Hawkeye, right?
It definitely didn't feel like Hawkeye.
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty confident. Well, it's interesting. Something that people, something that some people were talking about is more of a nerd thing, but originally, like the origins of Hawkeye, who's immortal, by the way, and is reborn multiple times.
Hawkman?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's not hinted at in the movie at all.
You said Hawkeye, just to be clear.
Did I actually say Hawkeye?
You did actually say it. I was like, whoa, Jeremy Renner is fucking immortal? Why did they... Anyway, why do they have that show then? Hawk Girl? Or what?
Well, Hawkman and Dr. Fate have layered backstories that don't get mentioned in the movie, and both originate from ancient Egypt. Where they go to, Kondak is supposed to be basically in the ancient Egypt area. Mm-hmm. So, kind of interesting. I mean, I understand why, I guess, because it'd be kind of complex for audiences, but it's kind of interesting if people who are fans of those characters, it's like, why they're not mentioning anything. Anyway, yeah. So, I have a note written here, Casey. I want to know if you remember this. It just says, "My mind and body exist in Fortnite." Do you remember this joke?
Oh yeah, I do remember this.
This is a great joke. Can you explain it?
Yeah. So there's a scene where Dr. Fate, like this is what happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Fate like projects his body to speak to Black Adam, and then takes him to this place, right?
I think you're mixing things up, but
never mind.
Basically, he appears in front of Black Adam,
and
he says, "Black Adam, my mind and body can exist in multiple places," right? And then you made the joke where it was like, "Black Adam, my mind and body exist in Fortnite. Welcome to Fortnite." Yeah, I like that one meme.
Okay, I was confusing it with
when he literally teleports him.
Yeah, he teleports him, and I think someone said like, "This looks like a Fortnite scene." I think M said that. I don't know.
Yeah, and then maybe that happened. I don't know. Maybe it happened
related to that. Yeah. But that was one of my favorite jokes. That again, watching it I will say, for any of you who have gone through this podcast if we're doing like recommendations, all right. If you watch this movie, it's on HBO Max now. Watch it with some friends, you know, in person or on Discord or some shit.
It'll make it a lot better.
It's a lot more enjoyable. It's really fun that way. There are a lot of points that are just very, very comedic if you have the right perspective on them.
Should we explain the "I've been hearing people on the street" joke?
I think we should.
That's possibly the title of this episode.
Yeah, for the title of the episode, we're going to explain an hour and a half in.
Well, we can like release a clip first.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have Evan here, but if you want to tell the video, I think you tell it well.
So, we were watching, as Casey said, the movie on the Discord together. About halfway through, this is right at the point in the movie where Black Adam has just launched Hawkman into a building or something. Right after Hawkman saves soldiers who the people hate, because they're being occupied. And people... Okay, so Evan joins the Discord at this point. We pause the movie. And Evan really hasn't said much at all. And Evan's like, we're like, timestamp 30:15 or whatever it is. And Evan's like, gets there, silence. And Evan's like, I've been hearing people on the street saying, "Long live the champion." What he meant was that literally in the movie, people in the street were saying "Long live the champion," chanting it in the movie. So he was saying that to say, like, that's what I'm hearing. Am I at the right spot? The way he said it made it sound like he had just joined the Discord and it was like, guys, people on the street, they're saying "Long live the champion." So
it was very good.
Yeah.
It made the movie feel more cinematic, this out of the world experience, and that, like, because Black Adam's doing so well financially, it's really popular right now. It's getting great critic and audience reviews.
You sound like Donald Trump. It's like, Black Adam is doing great right now.
The numbers coming in for Black Adam are huge.
The best ratings.
We did great. That's a quote from The Rock.
And you know me, I have tough skin, very tough skin.
I have very thick skin, I have very tough skin. And me and James Gunn, we go way back. And I want the best for future DC and Marvel.
I can't forget about the Marvel.
We love the Marvel. We love
Marvel. Did you see Ant-Man? It's so great.
Thor: Love and Thunder. I loved it.
Civil War. I hated Civil War. What? The Winter Soldier. I had a
Avengers Tower. I prefer Trump. Tower. I believe they modeled it off.
They filmed a few scenes. I let them at Trump Tower, just like I did for Tower Heist.
Yes, for Tower Heist.
Brett Ratner, he loves the ladies. He loves the ladies. That's a real quote from Donald Trump about Brett Ratner. Guys, go listen to the Tower Heist episode.
Go listen to the Tower Heist fucking episode.
Possibly top 3 filmatics.
I think it's so good. Oh, it's so good.
But yeah. I had an idea.
Sorry, hold on. Before this, I just want to say, do you have a top 3 filmatic?
Shrek, Tower Heist, one of the quarantine ones. I can't remember which one, but one where we had a bunch of people on. And
yes.
I think we really kind of found our groove.
Mine is Tower Heist, Batman.
Okay, yeah, shit.
Batman is really good. The fact that we talked for 4 hours.
And then afterwards, I was still like, there's more I didn't talk about. Like,
and also that intro is still my favorite thing we've ever done.
Yes. Well, my idea actually relates to the Batman episode.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's funny how coincided. So, for the Batman episode, guys, check this out on Instagram. It's great. We did a parody because Darian dressed up as Drifter Bruce Wayne, and we parodied the poster where it's like Unmask the Truth, and we did Unmask the Tear. Right? Remember we did like a parody poster? It's like a shot for shot thing. I thought it turned out pretty funny. For this episode, we parody the Black Adam poster. Where it says Black Adam, or the one where it says they needed a hero, they got Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like they needed a podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
They got Black Adam. I don't know, something where it's like
they needed Summer of Stiller. They got Black Adam.
Yeah.
There you go.
Something like that. It could be me, maybe. I don't know. It could be Darian again. Could be you. I don't know. We could figure it out. That's my idea.
I think that's
Hopefully,
good.
at the point people are listening to this, it already exists.
Someone
you're
sitting in a throne.
Dude. Yeah, I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah. If we can get a shot, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'd love to do something like that. I'm open to talking about that after. We could maybe figure it out. Anyway. Any other loose strands before we wrap this up? Before we get Joe Biden in here to read the Rock statement?
I think it's nice to end with Joe Biden talking, because The Rock released this address as if it was like the most important thing in the fucking world. And to be fair, like a lot of people were asking like, and like, you know, making all these assumptions about like what he thought. So I think it's good he said something, but like the way this fucking reads, and just to end like on the note of like, we watched this movie. I watched this movie. You both had already seen it before all of this like DC news came out.
Yeah.
But like watching this movie, we didn't even talk about the final scene, I should say.
The post-credit scene?
Yeah, the post-credit scene.
We can talk about that real quick.
Yeah, just the fact that literally none of this movie fucking matters, I think makes me enjoy it more. Because, like, if I had seen it and I was like, God, this is what we gotta do. I don't know. If we had to deal, like, I think The Rock, specifically, contained within this one movie. He got to do his fucking passion project. It's over and done with. If we really had to do, like, Black Adam v Superman, and that was, like, one of the first movies and the start of the next, like, James Gunn thing, I would have been like, no, this is fucked already. And I think people would have responded that way too. Because, like, how are you going to pitch that? I don't fucking know. After this movie, how are you going to pitch Black Adam v Superman?
You don't. The only reason he's in it is because he was able to strong arm them because they didn't have a head of DC at that point. Yeah. The head of DC stepped away many months ago. There's no one. James Gunn isn't in yet. The Rock is there. The Rock is The Rock. They thought this movie was going to do well because of his star power. So they're going to listen to what he says. Mm-hmm. They force DC to enter negotiations with Henry Cavill, do this cameo, and then set something up in the future. That never happens. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I've seen a lot of fans online praise The Rock. They're like, you did this. You brought back Superman for us. You're the best, DJ. You're the best.
DJ.
You know, yeah, they call him DJ online.
I heard people in the streets calling him DJ.
Yeah, literally. So, anyway, my point is just a crazy set of events for this to happen. I feel like there was something else.
Do we want to talk about the final scene? Just explain it to them.
Yeah, okay, so if you don't know, Amanda Waller's like, hey, Black Adam, you don't want to stay in my prison? Fine. Kahndaq is your prison. You take one step outside of there, you're going to regret it, buddy. And The Rock goes, no one can stop me. No one on this world can stop me. And she goes, well, maybe I'll send in somebody from outside of this world. I got friends. And he goes, all right, Morty, send them all. Mm-hmm. Amanda Waller says, have it your way. Black Adam shoots lightning, destroys the drone that she's projecting herself on FaceTime with. And there's a bunch of smoke. And a being in the shadows comes down. Originally, by the way, this is not supposed to show his face before they negotiated with it. They were going to do a bottom down cameo, like they did in Shazam. Anyway, being goes down. It's been a long time since anybody made the world this nervous. Steps forward. Superman plays the classic Superman theme. Black Adam, we need to talk. Cut to The Rock making a stupid face. Cut to credits.
I think it would have been more impactful if they just did not show him at all. I think they should have just ended on Waller's line of, maybe like someone from outside of this world. I don't know. Why do we need to see him? I know.
Post-credit scene, and The Rock was telling people weeks before the movie came out that Superman's in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Outwardly, because that's the only selling point to get people to see the movie, and it's still flopped.
Yeah.
So, like,
because they knew it was just going to be a post-credit scene where it doesn't do shit. Imagine if they had gotten him. If they had gotten him back for like, oh, no one can stop Black Adam. Why didn't I don't know. Maybe this is asking too much. But dude, what if they had just done Superman comes? What if this had been like Superman? I don't know if I would have liked this. I'll say it. But like, what if they had just been like, Black Adam is fucking so much shit up, no one can stop him. Third act, instead of having a fucking devil created, maybe it could have just been Superman comes in. And,
yeah.
I don't know.
No.
I think that would have been like breaking like norms in that way of like.
I think it's just practically they couldn't do that even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Dwayne Johnson wanted to do something bigger than the devil.
Yeah.
Which sounds absurd.
That's awesome. That tagline.
Yeah, there you go. But what I was gonna say was I'm forgetting. I'm gonna go back to the other thing I was gonna say, which is the credits. Anybody watch the credits?
No.
You remember what the credits are in the background of the names? It's like little close-ups of all the suits, all metallic-y, and they're like being built up by like energy. And a few movies have done this. Most notably, I think the original Avengers movie did it, where they show the close-up of the suits and the weapons and the hammer and all that. You guys like that? It kind of appeals to me. I don't know why. I don't have an objective reason why. I just kind of like the way it looks. It's very satisfying. The way it like builds up his suit, shows his suit at the end. It's like Black Adam. I don't know.
I think that's fun. I like that. I like that. I think maybe my favorite. What is it? Wow. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, but is it the original Spider-Man? And maybe they do it in the new ones too, where it's like the notebooks.
Just the new one.
Just the new one? Okay.
As far as I remember, yeah.
Okay. I kind of like that.
Well, the original Spider-Man trilogy, of course, has those great opening titles.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because the second one has the Alex Ross art retelling of the first movie.
True.
And the third one has like little flashbacks of all the movies. Mm-hmm. But and then I remember what I was gonna say, which is how come there's so many post-credit scenes where it's like character shows up to the other character. There's like character, we have to talk, and then it just ends. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Morbius just did it with the Vulture. I'm forgetting, but I think there's more than one other one that also does it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how a lot of fucking Marvel ones are.
It's kind of lazy, you know. Can there be something else I could say?
Like why? Like imagine
start talking. Maybe instead of saying we have to talk, maybe start talking. Like,
imagine if they had like started fighting, and that's how it ends. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pitching like bullshit, but like.
Or no, but even if you just like shot a laser near him or something, you know what I mean? Like
do something. It doesn't seem from that like we need to talk. Doesn't seem like they're going to fight to me. That doesn't seem like it was setting up like a, I don't know, like a B Superman movie. If that's really what they wanted. But who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I have. I can think of. The devil looks like a PS4 character as well.
True.
Worst CGI in the movie by far. There's overall, it's not that bad. But anyway.
Yeah. Adam Smasher kind of looked not bad. I thought it was.
Dr. Fate's suit is fully CGI.
Really?
Did you know that? See, that's what I'm saying. You're surprising.
In some, obviously, like when he's wearing the helmet. When he wasn't wearing the helmet, was it CGI?
Yes.
Damn. Okay, that's good.
I know. It's kind of crazy. But yeah. Any other final thoughts? Joe Byron, where are you?
The movie is okay. That's my end statement.
All right. Would you suggest this movie for people to watch?
Yeah, like I said earlier, watch it with friends. It's fun.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's like a 2
I think it's
out of
better
5.
than like Venom, honestly.
First Venom, yeah.
I
Second Venom, I have to
but
First Venom is funny. I don't know if I'd recommend someone to
It
watch
takes
it.
itself too seriously in parts.
Yeah.
It doesn't know what it wants to be. Which I know I said this also doesn't, but also this is like still more entertaining.
There's more value here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
I agree.
All
right. Can we get Joe Biden to read the Rock statement so that people can finally know what the Rock has to say about all this before we wrap this podcast up at 3:15 a.m.?
That's a good idea.
All right.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Okay, guys, we have Joe Biden here to deliver the Rock's speech on the Rock's behalf. Joe, are you there?
I am here, Neville.
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, sounds a little sleepy.
It's 3:17. You know, I'm sure he hasn't stayed up this late in years.
He was dying right now.
I am up a little bit past my bedtime. We've been working on some new legal laws for the country.
Legal laws?
Legal laws. Fair, Joe.
Okay, Joe. So by the way, Joe, before you do this, what did you think about Black Adam? Just generally. One sentence.
I thought Black Adam was a great introduction to the DC universe. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a very strong man to represent America, and I think that they did a great job with the movie.
What do you think about its comments on like imperialism in the Middle East? Do you have anything to say about that?
Oh, come on, man. You're going to bring up imperialism in the Middle East. I thought we were here to talk about the Raw.
I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. President. I just, I thought you might have some opinions on it. I'm not saying I agree with them. It's an open space.
I do have opinions on Black Adam. I think that the movie was great. I think that The Rock is a very strong representative of American exceptionalism. And I think that a lot of people could learn a lot from The Rock.
Okay. All right. So do you want to go ahead and read this little thing here? From The Rock yesterday?
I would be honored to read this statement.
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. To my passionate friends, I wanted to give you a long-awaited Black Adam update regarding the character's future in the new DC universe. James Gunn and I connected, and Black Adam will not be in their first chapter of storytelling. However, DC and $7 have agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in the future DC multiverse chapters. James and I have known each other for years and have always rooted for each other to succeed. It's no different now, and I will always root for DC and Marvel to win and win big. You guys know me, and I have very thick skin, and you can always count on me to be direct with my words. These decisions made by James and DC leadership represent their vision of DCU through their creative lens. After 15 years of relentless hard work to finally make Black Adam, I'm very proud of the film we delivered for fans worldwide. I will always look back on the fan reaction to Black Adam with tremendous gratitude, humility, and love. We did great. And to my very passionate and vocal Black Adam superhero genre fans, I love you. Thank you. And I will always listen to you and do my best to deliver and entertain you. What a hell of a month. Now we all need some Terramana. Have a productive week and happy holidays to you and your families.
Happy holidays. Whoa.
Happy holidays.
Joe, you know there's a war on Christmas. Are you taking sides?
Hey, my family, back in my day, we used to celebrate Christmas. That's what I know. I love Christmas. Christmas is one of the great American traditions, but they're telling me today that there's a lot of other holidays, and I'm trying to respect that. I'm trying to understand it. I'm learning. I might be 82 years old, but I'm learning about other holidays there are.
Joe, it sounds like you're about to cry. Does this get you emotional? Do you really feel connected to these other holidays?
I wouldn't peg myself as the emotional type. I served a long time on the Great War.
The Great War, Joe? The Great War. Okay.
Joe, you were telling me about something that happened.
What?
Forget it. Never forget it.
Spit it out. Spit it out, Nabil. No, I want to hear.
No. Joe was telling me something about what his commander in the military used to do, but I don't think it's relevant to the podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jack. I don't do none of that monkey business, all right? We fought a clean war. We fought a clean war against the communists, and we won. I'll be damned if we didn't win.
You're right. All right. So,
Joe, did you know that people on the streets are...
did you hear what they're saying?
Did you know they're saying, "Let's go, Brandon"? Have you heard about this?
What do you think about that?
Hey, let's go, Brandon. You know what I mean? More power to Brandon. I'm a big supporter of all my voters. And Brandon, I might not know you personally, and I might not have the privilege of meeting you, but I fully support you.
Nice. It's good to hear.
Yes, sir. Well, Joe, it was an honor, and by the way, are you you watched Black Adam, you liked Black Adam. What do you think of Harley Quinn, by the way? I just wanted to know, what's Joe Biden's thoughts on Harley Quinn? Margot Robbie.
Well, I've never been a big motorcycle rider myself, but Harley Davidson is probably one of the best American manufacturers that we have. And you know that I support domestic jobs in America. So I support anyone that chooses to purchase a Harley. Ride on. You know what I mean, man?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
But don't forget to wear your helmets. That's what they always say. Put on your helmet. Be safe. And then don't forget to buckle up. You don't want to get a ticket this holiday.
Sure. Any thoughts on the Joker? Just cause he's one of my favorite characters.
I think the Joker was a pretty great movie, to be completely honest with you. I think that we can all relate to having a little bit too much of a guy on a stage telling us what we can and can't say. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting, Joe.
Wow. So you kind of relate. So the way that the Joker killed Murray in the movie, you're saying maybe you do that to Trump in the debate, or the moderator?
I don't know. I don't know anything about any debates. But all I'm going to say, Jack, is that the Joker spoke to all of us as an American people because we need change. All right. We're tired of the same status quo that the Democratic Party has brought to us for this many years.
Oh, wow.
And that's why I am finally stepping up to the plate to make the change that this country needs. And if that involves a little bit of joking, then I think that's a price that we can pay.
Wow. That was
beautiful.
Profound.
It's really beautiful to hear.
Well, I could keep doing this all night, but I guess we should let you get back to your presidential duties and sleep, Joe. And we got to wrap up the podcast here too. So do a little bit of an outro. Joe, this is a section where we plug things. So before we get to Casey, I want to know, what do you want to plug before we wrap this podcast up? People to check out, you know.
I'd like to plug the Three Scoops in Delaware. That is the best place to get chocolate chip ice cream. That's my favorite flavor. If you like chocolate ice cream with chocolate chips in it, check them out. They got good stuff. It's real milk.
It's
Real cream, real sugar.
They said real MILF.
Real MILF.
Yeah. We were talking about that MILF in Black Adam, Joe. You see that shit? Woo. Woo. See that, Joe? Joe?
I did see Black Adam.
Good, Joe.
Okay. So, Casey.
Yeah. I'll plug.
The President of the United States is here. So, I mean, this is the
best one. I don't know if you're into like indie alternative music. Joe, sorry, I don't know if I should.
Mr. President?
Mr. President. But I have this band called Sungrazer. If you are interested in listening to them. That's what I promote to you, Mr. President, and anyone else.
I think before the podcast, Joe was telling me he's heard July.
Yeah.
You've heard, right, Joe? What did you think of July?
Really?
I'm pretty sure he said that, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of July. I remember when I was back in your age, I was always looking forward to the month of July. Summer break, you know what I mean, man? You get out of that classroom, first thing you'd want to do is grab yourself a nice scoop of chocolate chip ice cream. Off to the races.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. All right, well, I want to plug the podcast on the podcast, all right? Because guess what? People on the street are saying Filmatic is making a comeback. We announced the winner of the Suicide Squad Blu-ray yesterday. We did the Black Adam episode. We recorded it tonight. Hopefully going to be out by tomorrow night, not the next day. We're also recording the Avatar episode in the next few days. Avatar: The Way of Water. It's going to be great. Great movie. Or some would say. I don't know. We'll discuss it. And so a Summer of Stiller finale coming soon. Whenever Justin is not busy with his girlfriend, we'll be doing that. And I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. And yeah, so Filmatic is back. So thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for any technical difficulties. And we're going to do our little outro. So let's go one by one. We'll start with the president and just say, your name. And this is Filmatic, You can riff a little bit if you want. So, Mr. President, if you want to start.
My name is Filmatic, and I am happy to be a part of this podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. And remember, go out and vote. We need votes to win this election. We need votes to win democracy back for the United States. They are challenging the integrity of our country's foundation. All right, so all you Filmatic listeners, go out there and vote next month. It's a big election coming up. Whether you want me to be the president or not, make your voice heard.
Yep, go vote next month. All right, and we've been listening to Biden and
Casey, and this is Phil Asio. Phil. What's the name of the podcast?
Akio?
Phil Asio.
Oh no,
it's Phil Asio.
It's Filmatic.
Phil Asio podcast.
Filmatic. It's called Filmatic.
We've been talking about starting this fucking Filmatic podcast.
We've not. I've never talked about that ever.
Phil Asio.
You brought this up for the first
Phil
time.
Asio podcast.
The president is here, and you're talking about something very lewd. He probably doesn't even know what you're talking about.
He probably. Mr. President, have you seen Kimmy?
Just censor that.
I am not familiar with that movie, unfortunately. However, I could tell you a great deal off the podcast about fellatio. All right.
Whoa.
Okay.
It's kind of scandalous. All right.
Listen, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that.
You're going to get some first-hand information.
Yeah.
All right. So you're listening to Biden, Casey, and Deville. Thank you for tuning into Filmatic. Follow at Filmatic on Instagram, at Casey's _ something on Instagram, and at POTUS on Instagram. And we'll see you next time on Filmatic. Everybody say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.